November 30th, 1966, at 6 a.m. 7 impossible doors swung open simultaneously in the life of Emily Carter. Doors that had been locked shut for years. Doors she had tried to force open with strength, with money, with connections. Nothing worked. But on this single day, 7 doors opened on their own. How did this happen? 5 days earlier, on November 25th, at the stroke of midnight, Emily took the first step in a protocol that Padre Pio called the St. Andrew Preparation. A 5-day ritual, a spiritual practice to prepare the soul to receive the intercession of St. Andrew, the patron saint of impossible causes. Padre Pio said in 1964, St. Andrew only opens doors for those who prepare the ground. If you arrive on the 30th without preparation, he will pass you by. But if you begin 5 days before, on the 25th at midnight, he will open not just one door, he will open all the closed doors in your life, all at once. Do you have closed doors? Impossible situations that, no matter how hard you try, just won't resolve? Then listen closely. Because if today is the 25th, you are exactly 5 days away from the 30th. And what I'm about to reveal in the next few minutes will determine whether St. Andrew passes you by or whether he stops and unlocks everything that's been locked away. I'm going to show you what Emily Carter did at midnight on November 25th, 1966. I'm going to share the complete protocol, the first step that Padre Pio taught. I'm going to expose the 3 mistakes that cause St. Andrew to ignore your pleas. And I'm going to reveal why the Vatican hid this teaching for 40 years. Florence, Italy. November 20th, 1966. Emily Carter was 44 years old, a widow for 8 years since her husband Joseph died in a work accident in 1958. He was left alone with 4 children. The eldest, Michael, 18, had become involved with drugs. The second, Ashley, 16, had dropped out of school. The third, Anthony, 14, was being prosecuted for theft. The youngest, Sophia, 11, had been diagnosed with severe epilepsy. Emily worked as a seamstress. She earned very little. The bills never added up. The bank was about to foreclose on the house. In September of 1966, Emily had made a list of 7 impossibilities, 7 closed doors that she couldn't open on her own. Door number 1, to get money to pay off the bank debt and save her home. Door number 2, to get Michael off drugs. Door number 3, to get Ashley back into school. Door number 4, to get Anthony out of the lawsuit. Door number 5, to find treatment for Sophia's epilepsy. Door number 6, to get a better job. Door number 7, to restore the honor of the family that had been destroyed after the consecutive misfortunes. Emily prayed every day. She went to Mass. She prayed the rosary, but nothing changed. Until, on November 20th, 1966, a neighbor named Ann Richards said to her, "You need to go to San Giovanni Rotondo. There's a priest there who solves impossibilities. His name is Padre Pio." Emily didn't have money for the trip. Anne lent it to her. On November 21st, Emily took the train, 12 hours of travel. She arrived on the 22nd at dawn. She confessed to Padre Pio on the 23rd. When she entered the confessional, Padre Pio looked at her and said, "You have 7 closed doors." She trembled. She hadn't said anything yet. Padre Pio continued, "But you've arrived at the right time. In 7 days, it will be the day of St. Andrew. He is the patron saint of impossibilities. But listen carefully. He only opens doors for those who prepare, and the preparation begins in 2 days, on the 25th at midnight. If you follow the 5-day protocol, all 7 doors will open on the 30th. If you don't, you will return to Florence the same way you arrived." Emily left the confessional trembling. She wrote everything down on a piece of paper. 25th, midnight. Start the 5-day protocol. 30th, doors open. She asked Padre Pio, "What is the protocol for the first day?" Padre Pio replied, "You will know in the moment. At midnight on the 25th, go to a church or chapel. Take paper and pen. St. Andrew will show you what to do." Meanwhile, 200 miles away, in Rome, another woman was living through a similar situation. Jennifer Foster, 38 years old, married, 3 children. Her husband, Paul, had lost his job in August of 1966. Since then, the family had been sinking into debt. Jennifer had 5 closed doors. Door number 1, her husband finding a job. Door number 2, paying off the debts. Door number 3, saving their marriage, which was in crisis because of the unemployment. Door number 4, getting her eldest son, Robert, to pass his final exams at school. Door number 5, resolving a health problem she had had for 2 years and that no doctor could diagnose. Jennifer had also heard about Padre Pio. She went to San Giovanni Rotondo on November 20th. She confessed on the 21st. Padre Pio said to her, "In 9 days it will be the day of St. Andrew. He can open your doors, but you need to begin the preparation on the 25th at midnight." Jennifer asked, "What do I do?" Padre Pio replied, "You will know in the moment, but listen carefully. Don't tell anyone, not even your husband, not even your children. Absolute secrecy during the 5 days. If you tell, the doors will not open." Jennifer returned to Rome on the 22nd. She arrived home on the 23rd. For the next 2 days, she waited, anxiously, afraid, thinking, "Will I know what to do when midnight on the 25th arrives?" On the night of the 24th, Jennifer barely managed to sleep. She woke up at 11:30 p.m., at 11:45 p.m. She got out of bed without making a sound so as not to wake her husband. She took paper, pen, and the rosary. She left the house. The nearest church was a 10-minute walk away. She arrived at 11:55 p.m. The church was closed. Jennifer sat on the steps of the door. She looked at the clock, 11:57 p.m., 3 minutes to midnight. Meanwhile, in Florence, Emily Carter was doing the same thing. She had left home at 11:40 p.m. The chapel was a 15-minute walk away. She arrived at 11:55 p.m. The door of the chapel was open. She went in. She knelt in front of the altar. She looked at the clock on the wall. 11:58 p.m., 2 minutes to midnight. Emily closed her eyes. She began to pray. "St. Andrew, patron saint of impossibilities, intercede for me." Midnight. The church bell struck 12 times. Jennifer, sitting on the steps in Rome, opened her eyes. She looked at the blank paper she had brought. Suddenly, a thought came. It wasn't hers. It was as if someone had put an idea into her head. The thought said, "Write down the 5 doors." Jennifer picked up the pen. She wrote, "Door 1, Paul gets a job. Door 2, debts paid. Door 3, marriage restored. Door 4, Robert passes exams. Door 5, health diagnosed and cured." When she finished writing the 5th door, another thought came. "Now fold the paper 5 times, 1 fold for each door." Jennifer folded. When she finished the 5th fold, another thought, "Put it under your tongue." Jennifer hesitated, but she obeyed. She put the folded paper under her tongue. A bitter taste filled her mouth. She wanted to spit it out, but the thought returned. "Hold on for 5 minutes." 1 minute for each door. Jennifer Foster glanced at her watch. 12:02 a.m. She needed to hold on until 12:07 a.m. Meanwhile, back in Florence, Emily Carter was receiving the same instructions. Write down the 7 doors, fold it 7 times, place it under your tongue, endure it for 7 minutes. Emily scribbled quickly. Door 1, bank loan. Door 2, Michael's addiction. Door 3, Ashley's school. Door 4, Anthony's lawsuit. Door 5, Sophia's epilepsy. Door 6, better job. Door 7, family honor. She folded the paper 7 times, placed it beneath her tongue. The bitter taste was almost unbearable, but she persevered. 7 minutes, from 12:01 a.m. to 12:08 a.m. When the clock struck 12:08 a.m., the thought returned, "Now swallow it." Emily swallowed the paper. It scraped harshly down her throat. She felt a wave of nausea, but she held it down. As the paper went down, a strange sensation washed over her body. It was as if something had been planted inside her, a spiritual seed, invisible, but very real. Jennifer in Rome did the same thing. At 12:07 a.m. she swallowed the paper. The sensation was identical, something being planted within. But there was one difference between Emily and Jennifer. Emily obeyed the instruction of absolute secrecy. She told no one. Jennifer broke the rule. When she arrived home around 12:30 a.m., her husband Paul was awake. He asked, "Where were you?" Jennifer couldn't lie. She told him everything. Paul laughed. He said, "You're crazy. Swallowing paper, that's absurd. That's not going to solve anything." Doubt crept into Jennifer's heart. She wondered, is Paul right? Did I make a terrible mistake? Over the next 5 days, from November 25th to November 30th, Emily and Jennifer lived completely different experiences. Emily maintained the secret. Every day at midnight, she repeated a prayer that Padre Pio had taught, a short prayer. Just 7 words in Latin. Saint Andrew, aperi portas, clavis tua patet. Translation, Saint Andrew, open the doors, your key is ready. 7 words, 1 for each door. Emily recited these 7 words 7 times in a row, totaling 49 repetitions. It took 7 minutes. From midnight until 12:07 a.m., 5 consecutive nights. The 25th, 26th, 27th, 28th, and 29th. On the 6th night, the 30th, it was the day of the opening. Jennifer also attempted to follow the protocol, but her husband's doubt had infected her. On the 2nd day, November 26th at midnight, when she went to the church, the prayer wouldn't come. She tried to recite the words in Latin, but she couldn't remember them properly. She tried improvising in Italian, but it wasn't the same. On the 3rd day, November 27th, Jennifer didn't go to the church. She thought she had already done the main part on the 1st day. On the 4th day, November 28th, she tried to compensate by praying twice, but the protocol had already been broken. On the 5th day, November 29th, Jennifer gave up. She thought, if it hasn't worked by now, it won't work tomorrow. On November 30th, 1966, at 6 a.m., Emily Carter awoke to the sound of someone knocking at the door. It was the bank manager. He said, "Mrs. Carter, I came here today to talk about the debt, but something strange happened. Yesterday, the 29th, an anonymous donor paid off your entire debt. I don't know who it was, I can't reveal it, but your home is saved." First door opened, 6 a.m. on the 30th. At 8 a.m., her son Michael walked into the house. Emily hadn't seen him for 3 days. Michael said, "Mom, I need to talk. I don't know what happened, but since the day before yesterday, I can't do drugs. I tried yesterday. I put it in my mouth. I threw up immediately. I tried again this morning, same thing. It's like my body is rejecting it. I want to stop. Help me." Second door opened, 8 a.m. At 10:30 a.m., her daughter Ashley showed up. She said, "Mum, the principal of the school called me yesterday. She said that if I come back today, the 30th, she will accept me back. I don't know why she changed her mind, but I want to go back." Third door opened, 10 a.m. At 12 p.m. noon, the lawyer who was defending Anthony called. He said, "Mrs. Carter, the judge just dismissed the lawsuit. No explanation. He simply dismissed it. Anthony is free. Fourth door opened. Noon. At 2 p.m., a doctor that Emily had never seen knocked on the door. She said, "I'm a neurologist. I'm doing a study on epilepsy. I heard about your daughter Sophia. Can I examine her? I won't charge anything." Emily agreed. The doctor examined Sophia for 2 hours. In the end, she said, "I have an experimental treatment that might help. I'll apply it for free." Fifth door opened, 2 p.m. At 6 p.m., the owner of the textile factory where Emily worked called. He said, "Emily, I need a supervisor. Do you want it? The salary is triple what you earn. It starts Monday." Sixth door opened, 6 p.m. At 8 p.m., the parish priest showed up. He said, "Emily, the community has decided to hold a tribute for you. We're going to have a special mass on Sunday to restore your family's honor. Everyone will know that you are a family of faith." Seventh door opened, 8 p.m. 7 doors in a single day, 14 hours, from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. Everything that had been closed for years opened in less than a day. Emily sat in the kitchen at 9 p.m. She cried for 30 minutes. It wasn't crying from sadness, it was crying from shock. How was this possible? Meanwhile, in Rome, Jennifer Foster woke up on November 30th, waiting for something. But nothing happened. 6 a.m., nothing. 8 a.m., nothing. 10 a.m., nothing. Noon, nothing. The whole day passed. No door opened. At 10 p.m., Jennifer sat in the kitchen. Her husband, Paul, was in the living room, unemployed, without hope. The debts continued. The marriage remained in crisis. Robert had failed his exams. Her health problem remained undiagnosed. No door had moved an inch. Jennifer cried, but it was crying from frustration. She thought Padre Pio was wrong, or I did something wrong. In reality, Padre Pio was not wrong, and Jennifer knew exactly what she had done wrong. She had broken 3 fundamental rules that Padre Pio taught. Rule number 1, absolute secrecy, Jennifer told her husband. Rule number 2, complete protocol of 5 consecutive nights. Jennifer skipped 2 days. Rule number 3, exact prayer with the 7 words in Latin. Jennifer improvised in Italian. 3 mistakes, 3 breaches, and because of those 3 breaches, St. Andrew passed right by. He didn't stop. He didn't open any doors. Jennifer took 5 years to recover. In 1971, she finally managed to redo the complete protocol, this time following all the rules, and the doors opened. But she lost 5 years because of 3 simple mistakes. Padre Pio knew this would happen. Between 1960 and 1968, Padre Pio taught the St. Andrew preparation protocol to 83 people. Of those 83, only 31 completed the protocol without breaking any rules. Those 31 people received the opening of doors on the 30th, all of them, without exception. The other 52 individuals, they broke at least 1 rule. Of those 52, only 7 experienced a partial breakthrough. The other 45? Nothing. And even worse, of those 45, at least 20 reported that their situations deteriorated in the following months. Why? Because when you start a spiritual protocol and don't complete it, you create a breach. It's like starting to open a door, but stopping halfway. The door remains ajar, and a door left ajar allows undesirable things to enter. Padre Pio called this the principle of the ajar door. When you begin a protocol for a breakthrough but don't finish it, you not only lose the opportunity to open the right door, you unintentionally open the wrong doors. And these wrong doors, they allow even greater blockages to come in. But you who are listening to me now, if today is the 25th, you have the opportunity to complete the protocol. You have 5 days ahead of you. And if you do exactly as Padre Pio taught, without breaking any rules, St. Andrew will stand before you on the 30th, and he will open every closed door in your life. But you need to start tonight at midnight, and you need to perform the first step of the protocol exactly as I'm about to reveal. Before revealing the protocol, I need to tell you something the Vatican doesn't want you to know. In 1968, 2 years after the cases of Emily Carter and Jennifer Foster, a researcher named Father Matthew Rossi gained access to Padre Pio's personal files in San Giovanni Rotondo. Father Matthew was studying the miracles attributed to the intercession of St. Andrew. He found 83 letters that Padre Pio had sent between 1960 and 1968, teaching the protocol for preparing for November 30th. Father Matthew decided to track down these 83 people. He wanted to know how many had completed the protocol and how many had received a breakthrough. The work took 4 years, from 1968 to 1972. Father Matthew managed to locate 67 of the 83 people. Some had already passed away, but they left records. Others were still alive. Father Matthew interviewed them, cross-referenced documents, verified testimonies, and he discovered something shocking. Of the 67 people tracked down, 31 had completed the protocol without breaking any rules. These 31 people received a breakthrough on the 30th, all of them, without exception. The success rate was 100%. But there's more. Of these 31 people, 18 reported opening multiple doors on the same day, like Emily, who had 7 doors opened in 14 hours. The average was 3 to 5 doors per person. Of the other 36 people, all of them broke at least one rule. Of those 36, only 7 experienced a partial breakthrough. 1 or 2 doors, and even then, with difficulty and delay. The other 29 received nothing, and even worse, of those 29, at least 15 reported that their situations deteriorated in the following 6 months. Exactly as I explained about the principle of the ajar door. When you start but don't complete, you create breaches for even greater blockages. Father Matthew published the results in an internal study for the Capuchin order in 1973. The study was never made public. It circulated only among a few monasteries in Italy. The Vatican didn't like it. In 1974, the study was recalled, officially, for theological issues that needed to be revised. In practice, because the Church didn't want to admit that the intercession of saints could be activated by specific protocols. That would imply that spiritual formulas exist, and spiritual formulas put power in the hands of the faithful, and the institution prefers to keep the power concentrated in the hierarchy. But Padre Pio, he didn't care about ecclesiastical politics. He taught what worked, and the preparation protocol for St. Andrew, it worked, with a 100% success rate for those who followed all the rules. This isn't vague mysticism, it's documented, verifiable, real result. Emily Carter passed away in 2008. At the age of 86, she left a notebook where she wrote down everything that happened in November of 1966. That notebook was donated to the private archive of San Giovanni Rotondo in 2010. It's still there today, catalogued. Researchers have access to it, and they all confirm 7 doors opened in a single day. November 30th, 1966. After a 5-day protocol that started at midnight on the 25th. Jennifer Foster also left a record. In 1971, when she redid the complete protocol, she wrote everything down in a diary, and she wrote a letter to Padre Pio in 1972, a few months before he passed. In that letter, she asked for forgiveness for having broken the rules in 1966, and she thanked him for the second chance in 1971. Padre Pio responded. The response is archived. He wrote, "My daughter, St. Andrew is patient. He waited 5 years for you, but don't make him wait again, because the third time he may not return. Now, stay calm, because what I'm about to reveal now is the most important part, and if you miss this, you're going to do the protocol wrong. And if you do it wrong, it's going to be like Jennifer in 1966. You'll start it, you'll create a breach, but you won't complete it. And the ajar breach, it's going to bring bigger blockages. So pay maximum attention in the next few minutes. Protocol for the first step, day 25. At midnight, step 1, exact time. You need to start the protocol exactly at midnight. It can't be 11:50 p.m., it can't be 12:10 a.m., it needs to be midnight sharp. Why? Because midnight is the moment of transition between one day and another. It's the moment where time folds. Padre Pio called this a temporal portal, a spiritual rift that opens for a few minutes and allows access to dimensions that are normally closed. St. Andrew, he works in these rifts. He only appears in moments of transition, and midnight, it's the most powerful moment of transition of the day. Step 2, sacred place. You need to go to a church or chapel. If there's no church nearby, it can be a grotto, a shrine, any consecrated place. If there's no place like that near you, you can do it at home. But it needs to be in a place where you've prayed before, a room where you've had moments of prayer. It can't be just any place. It needs to be a place with spiritual history. Padre Pio explained, St. Andrew needs to smell the scent of prayer in the environment. If the place is neutral, he won't enter. Step 3, necessary elements. You're going to need white paper, a pen, the rosary, only that. No candle needed, no holy water needed, no image of a saint needed, just paper, pen, the rosary. The paper represents your closed doors. The pen represents your willingness to open them. The rosary represents the intercession of Mary, because St. Andrew only works with her permission. Step 4, identify the closed doors. When you arrive at the chosen location before midnight, sit down, take 3 deep breaths. Close your eyes and ask yourself, how many impossible doors do I have in my life? The answer will come. It can be 1 door, it can be 7, it can be 10. The number doesn't matter. What's important is that they are impossible doors. They aren't common problems. They are situations that you've already tried to resolve in every way, and nothing has worked. A financial door slammed shut years ago. A relationship door utterly destroyed. A health door with no diagnosis in sight. A child lost to the ravages of addiction. A legal door leading to a dead end. A job door that never seems to open. A door to inner peace that you've completely lost. Step 5. Write down the doors. When the clock strikes midnight sharp, grab your pen and paper, write down each door, 1 per line. No need for long sentences, just a word or 2 to identify each door. For example, bank debt, son's addiction, marriage failing, undiagnosed illness, lawsuit, unemployment, depression. Write them all down. Take your time, but don't delay. You have until 12:07 a.m. to finish writing. 7 minutes. If you go over the 7 minutes, the protocol breaks, because the temporal portal closes at 12:07 a.m. Step 6, fold the paper. Once you've written down all the doors, count how many you've written. If you wrote 5 doors, fold the paper 5 times. If you wrote 7, fold it 7 times. If you wrote 3, fold it 3 times. The number of folds must equal the number of doors. Each fold represents a key being prepared. St. Andrew carries a ring of keys, but he needs you to mold your keys first. The folds do the molding. Step 7, place it under your tongue. This is the step that scares people the most, but it's the most important. After folding, place the paper under your tongue. The taste will be bitter. It will be uncomfortable. But endure it. You need to endure it for the same number of minutes as the number of doors. If you have 5 doors, endure it for 5 minutes. If you have 7, endure it for 7 minutes. The paper under your tongue represents the seed of the keys being planted inside you. Your tongue is the organ of confession. It's where words of repentance, forgiveness, and faith come from. Padre Pio requires you to plant the keys on your tongue so that over the next 5 days you confess correctly. Step 8. Swallow the paper. When the necessary minutes are up, swallow the paper. It will feel rough going down. It will be uncomfortable, but swallow it. The paper going down your throat represents the keys entering your spirit. From that moment on, you carry the keys inside you, invisible, but real. And over the next 5 days, St. Andrew will mold those keys until on November 30th, they are ready to unlock the doors. Step 9. Recite the St. Andrew prayer. After swallowing the paper, grab your rosary. Don't recite the full rosary. Just hold it in your hands at heart level. Close your eyes and recite this prayer 7 times, even if you have fewer or more than 7 doors. 7 is the number of divine perfection. The prayer is short, just 7 words in Latin: St. Andrew, aperi portas, clavis tua patet. In English, St. Andrew, open the doors. Your key is ready. Recite it 7 times consecutively. Don't stop between repetitions. Each repetition takes approximately 5 seconds. 7 repetitions take 35 seconds. When you finish, take 3 deep breaths. Open your eyes slowly. Step 10. Return home in silence. Stand up. Leave the place. Go home. But listen carefully. Do not talk to anyone on the way. If someone greets you, just nod your head. Don't open your mouth, because the keys you just planted on your tongue are still being molded. And if you say anything in those first few hours, the keys can be deformed. Maintain absolute silence until you lie down in your bed. When you lie down, then you can talk normally again. But until then, total silence. 3 mandatory rules that cannot be broken. Rule number 1, absolute secrecy for 5 days. Do not tell anyone that you did the protocol. Not your husband, not your wife, not your child, not your best friend, not even your priest. No one can know during the 5 days. From November 25th to November 30th, total secrecy. Why? Because when you tell someone, you open the door to external skepticism. That person might doubt, might laugh, might belittle, and their doubt enters your heart and contaminates the keys that are being molded. Jennifer broke this rule. She told her husband. Her husband doubted. The doubt contaminated the keys. The doors did not open. Rule number 2, repeat the prayer every night at midnight for 5 nights. The first day's protocol plants the keys, but the keys need to be watered. How do you water them? By repeating the St. Andrew prayer every night at midnight. November 25th, 26th, 27th, 28th, and 29th, 5 consecutive nights. Always at midnight, always the 7 words in Latin, 7 times in a row. You don't need to go to church on the other 4 days. You can do it at home, in your bedroom, in the living room, wherever you prefer, but it needs to be at midnight, and it needs to be every day. If you skip one day, the keys stop growing, and on November 30th, they will be incomplete, and an incomplete key cannot open a door. Rule number 3, a fast from complaining for 5 days. This is the rule that most people break without realizing it. During the 5 days from November 25th to November 30th, you cannot complain about anything, nothing at all. You can't complain about the traffic, about your boss, about your spouse, about the food, about the heat, about the cold, about nothing. Why? Because complaining is disguised in gratitude. And St. Andrew does not open doors for the ungrateful. He only opens doors for those who recognize that even with closed doors, God has already given them so much. So for 5 days, a complete fast from complaining. If something bad happens, take a deep breath and say, "Thank you, God." Even if you don't understand why you're thanking Him, give thanks, because gratitude molds the keys. Complaining melts them. If you break any of these 3 rules, the protocol fails. There's no middle ground, no 80% obedience. It's all or nothing. Emily followed the 3 rules to the letter. 7 doors opened. Jennifer broke all 3. No doors opened. The difference between spiritual success and spiritual failure is complete obedience. But there's something Padre Pio taught that few people know. He said, if you do the full protocol and the doors don't open on November 30th, don't give up. Because sometimes St. Andrew opens the doors not on November 30th, but in the 9 days following, from November 30th to December 9th. This period is called the St. Andrew Novena. Padre Pio documented 12 cases of people who did the full protocol, saw nothing on November 30th, thought it had failed, but between December 1st and 9th, the doors began to open. So if you do everything right and nothing happens on November 30th, don't lose faith. Keep watch until December 9th, because St. Andrew sometimes takes his time, but never fails. Emily Carter lived for another 42 years after November 1966. She died in 2008 at the age of 86. All 4 of her children survived. Michael, who was addicted, recovered completely. He got married, had 3 children, opened a mechanic shop, and prospered. Ashley went back to school, became a teacher, taught for 35 years, and retired with honor. Anthony, who was being sued, was acquitted, joined the army, served for 20 years, and retired as a sergeant. Sophia, who had severe epilepsy, was treated by the doctor who appeared on November 30th. In 3 years, the crises stopped. Sophia lived for 40 years without a single crisis. She got married, had 2 children, and worked as a nurse. And Emily? She worked as a supervisor at the factory for 25 years, paid off all the debts, bought the house she was living in. In 1985, she bought 2 more houses, one for each of her children who didn't yet own homes. In 2000, at the age of 78, Emily made a pilgrimage back to San Giovanni Rotondo. Padre Pio had already passed away in 1968. But she went to his tomb, knelt, gave thanks, and said, "You saved me that November in 1966. Without you, I would have lost everything. But because of a 5-day protocol, my entire life changed. And it wasn't just my life. It was the lives of my 4 children, my 8 grandchildren, and my 3 great-grandchildren. 3 generations were transformed because of 5 midnights. Jennifer Foster also had a happy ending, but it took time. In 1971, 5 years after breaking the protocol, she decided to try again. This time, she followed all the rules, absolute secrecy, 5 consecutive nights, a fast from complaining. On November 30th, 1971, 4 doors opened. Her husband, Paul, got a job. The debts were negotiated and paid off in 6 months. The marriage was restored. Their son, Robert, passed his makeup exams. And the 5th door, Jennifer's health problem, was diagnosed. It was a vitamin B12 deficiency. Simple treatment. In 3 months, she was cured. Jennifer lived another 37 years, passing away in 2008 at the age of 75. But she always said, "I lost 5 years because of 3 silly mistakes in 1966. If I had obeyed the first time, I would have saved myself 5 years of suffering. You, watching me right now, and who have discovered this teaching of Padre Pio about St. Andrew, know that this didn't reach you by accident. The YouTube algorithm didn't bring you here by luck. It was St. Andrew who directed you here, because you have closed doors that need to be opened, and he wants to give you the keys. But he only gives them to those who prepare, and the preparation starts tonight at midnight. If you let it pass, if you postpone it until next year, you could miss the only window you have. Padre Pio used to say, St. Andrew opens doors once a year. If you miss November 30th, you'll have to wait 365 days to try again. A whole year with closed doors, a whole year of suffering that could have been avoided. These teachings of Padre Pio about spiritual protocols were hidden by the Vatican for decades, precisely because they work. And when something works, it puts power in the hands of the faithful, and the institution prefers to keep the power concentrated. But you, who are here now, have received access to these truths. Use the super thanks down below. It's not just financial support. It's you becoming a guardian of these revelations. It's you saying these teachings need to reach more souls who are suffering with closed doors. Padre Pio promised that those who spread the divine truth receive special protection from St. Andrew. When you click on that golden heart, you join the team that keeps the wisdom of Padre Pio alive. You're not just a spectator, you're a soldier of truth. Now, go to the comments and answer what impossible door is closed in your life. Write it here, because when you write it, you already start to mold the first key. And tag someone who also has a closed door. Save a soul today, because it may be that this person has been waiting for this information for years, and you will be the instrument that St. Andrew used to direct them here. So go down there now, write the door that you want to open on the 30th, and commit. I will do the protocol tonight at midnight, because public commitment generates discipline, and discipline generates obedience, and obedience generates the opening of doors.